Early on, I mentioned about gluing boards together. Now I've just taken 3 short lengths, but if we wanted to glue those together and make sure they're nice and firmly put together, how do we do that if we haven't actually got any clamps? Whether it's a clamp like this, which, you know, if you've got one, nice and easy, or whether it's a sash clamp. Well, what do you do when you haven't got these kind of tools? Well, one simple method is, whether these are short lengths or longer lengths, is if you take a strip of wood, and it's just a bit of that pallet wood that we were using earlier, and I've got 2 blocks of wood here. I'm going to put one at this end. In fact, I'll turn it that way, I think. I'm going to put that on there, and I'm literally just going to nail it on. This piece, before I fix it on, if we just take our little scraps of wood here, and what I am going to do is just rub each one of these edges very quickly on a piece of sandpaper, just so I know there's no splinters sticking out that are going to stop it coming together. I'm going to put those 3 pieces against there. But in order to squeeze these up tight, that was actually a bit, or is it that one? One of those 2. It's definitely got a piece sticking out from it. There we go. And I've picked pieces of wood where you can very definitely see the difference in them. What we need to do is create a wedge. So I've got another scrap of wood. In fact, it's that board that split earlier on. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to saw down it. But before I do, I'm going to find a pencil and a ruler, and I'm literally going to create a wedge. Can you see that little line on there? Getting close off just about. I'm going to do it in the vise, but equally you could do this on the workmates. Again, just using a handsaw, I'm going to literally that's out the way. I'm going to have to do it, put it on a bit of an angle to finish that end off. Whoops. That was that very splintery bit that split on me last time, but it won't matter for this, because all we want is the wedge. Get rid of all those bits from the underside of it. And there we go. Now then, what we can do is if we put our blocks of wood there, put our wedge there, not all the way in, and then nail our second block at that position there. But I'm not going to put those nails all the way down, because that way, when we want to move that block, we can get our claw hammer in there and pull them back out. Take the wedge out. Now, one thing about using a block like this, before you glue up, wherever those boards are going to sit, just put a couple of pencil marks. And you can either put some tape over that bit, or you can get yourself a bit of plastic or something like that. What have I got lying around that I can use? can simply put a piece of plastic on there. We just don't want the wood to stick to our base. That's the only reason I'm putting it there. So let's put that one in first. We don't need to do anything with that one. We'll put some glue on our middle board. Put it on both edges. A bit messy that. Let's see. There we go. So we've got glue on that one. I'm going to rub the two boards together just a little bit, just to get the glue to bed in properly. Get rid of that bit off the side there. And there. And then take our wedge, make sure that everything is nicely lined up, and then literally just give it a few taps. Don't over tighten it though. If you drive that in too hard, these will literally just spring up and you'll end up with something like that, which you don't want. Leave that to set now. And you've got a wider board. So if you can't find wider boards to make the front of your bird box, you can take the narrow strips, glue them together like this, and then once that's dried, you can then cut it to whatever length width you actually require. And that's the way of working round, not having exactly the right width board. I hope that helps. Okay, we've got our wood clamped up. What happens though if you've got, let's say, 4 or 5 boards and it's a bit longer? When you try and put the wedge in, it will start to bow up in the middle. How do we get around that problem if we haven't got clamps? Well, here's a simple solution to that one as well. Let me just tip the camera down so you can see where we are. There we go. There's our clamped up pieces of wood. All you need to do is get another scrap of timber and a couple of nails. Now the blocks that I've used are actually thicker than the wood in the middle, and we want that gap. That's very important. So put a nail in there. I'll put a nail in there. I'm not driving them all the way in, it's not necessary. And then if these are starting to bow up, I've cut a little strip there. It's just a little thin wedge. Simply push the wedge in there, give it a little bit of a tap, and if you need to, you can always have another wedge and push it in from that side. That's just a sliver of wood, but you can push another wedge in from that side. That one might actually do it. No, that's too big. I haven't got another one, but you can see the point. Simply doing that keeps the wood down. If you don't want to do that, you could literally get a weight, if I can find what I've done with it, and you could put that onto your timber and hold it down. It doesn't have to be an actual manufactured weight. It could simply be a can of paint on top. Anything just to press it down, keep it flat while the glue dries. That's all we're actually doing. But this works. It works really nicely. And if you made, say, a pair of these, then you could have much longer boards, and you could put one clamp here, one clamp further over there, or even 3 if need be. And there can be any width that you actually need. It just depends on how many boards you're gluing together at one time. It's a way around having to go out and buy clamps like this, or to buy expensive sash clamps. Anyway, please give a like, subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. Particularly for any ideas, things that you would like to make, workarounds. Let me know what you're up to with your woodworking, and let me know how you go on with the bird box. Okay, see you soon. I'm Dave. Bye now.